Off they go, bags in tow. Matt and Chrissy hit the road. Maps unfold, stories told. Adventures never getting old. Matt and Chrissy roam so free through the city, past the sea, finding joy in every mile.
G'day, it's Matt from Couple of Cities here again, and we are at the next stage with what we're doing in van. At this point in time, we've had a conversation with an auto electrician who does the fit outs for a lot of the off-grid solar setups, and he's recommending that we go for two 300 amp hour batteries instead of three 200 amp hour batteries. Although the conversations that we've had, some of the other people have been along the lines of you get more amp hours at the moment with the battery pricings that they've got for the 200 amp hours. So three of those will get you more amp hours to the dollar than two 300s, which I suppose that makes sense because we are talking with someone who's going to be able to give us close to wholesale prices. And the guy we're speaking with today, his top end retail pricing it's pretty intense. So as an example, the equipment that we've mapped out, and I'll show you the floor plan here in a minute for the conversation from last night, was largely based on what we thought was a pretty reasonable quote. It was about 7.5, 8 grand for everything that we would need. And that's including two 350 watt panels to be able to pull in and keep three 200 amp hour batteries set up, you know, with a decent inverter. It's a multi-pass that they're recommending, and yeah, I think that's definitely leaning in a much better quality direction than the King's equipment that we're looking at. Price point for a lot of people, I suppose, you know, that's going to be a challenge, and you've got to figure out what works for your budget and what doesn't. But we're looking at how do we put a bit of value into this so that we get a good quality outcome, number one. But if we do choose to sell down the track, which is highly likely that we will, that whoever's buying this is getting a decent setup. They're not getting something that we've tried to cut corners with as far as the quality of the materials goes. So I'm going to quickly show you what it is that we've done. So that footprint that you can see there is a void that would fit behind the two drawer assemblies that we've got. Chrissy's opted to go for two 500 by 500 drawers instead of the 700s, and that will effectively mean that what we can do is bring this line back to about here. So it's going to give us a heck of a lot more space in that void in the middle. That could potentially mean that we'll get two, possibly even three batteries in there, and then we've got space here that's allocated on that side for the multi-pass, and then the DC to DC and the controller in that space there, and another footprint there for another battery. So we'll figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work. The main thing I've got to consider at this point in time is our little inspection hatch there, or access hatch for the spare tyre, and the fridge slider. So that's the 100 litre fridge slider from King's and 4-wheel drive Super Centre. And I need to figure out whether or not that is going to fit what we've got there, or do I need to change anything along the side. So let's check it out. I'm going to whip this thing open. Okay, so what I was hoping for here was that with where this fridge slider needs to go, is that the hole in the middle of it, I was hoping that when it was fully extended, that hole in the middle would be something that would line up nicely with the access hatch for our spare. So it's just sitting along the line there that we've got here. That's roughly where it's going to go. But you can see here, there's the access hatch just there. And if I come up, you can see based on the line there, that this part of the plate sits directly over the top of that access hatch. Now that's not too much of an issue, because what we can do is we can extend the slider all the way out and access that little hatch to be able to deal with the spare. So based on that, I think we're on a winner as far as the placement goes. the next thing I need to do is make sure that I've got the markings on the edges of the panels and up the ends there, so I can string line and get these things back into being square. I'm going to be doing this on my own because Chrissy is down in Victoria for the next 4 weeks looking after a couple of Dacians. She's down there for a birthday party, and the people who had offered her a place to stay based on one of our previous house sits had said, look, can you extend your 3-day weekend to 4 weeks so we can go away and you can look after Miles and Luna? So that's where she is down there at the moment, and all this hard work's going to be left up to me. So anyhow, it'll be good fun. So I'm going to get to marking things out and we'll see where we end up next.